Royal Orbis Radio. Tonight featuring myself, Zig, uh, with co-host Thalmor and special host Justinian. Justinian is asked essentially to be one of us, which is, I think, ironic because that means we have 4 different people all hosting, all from Kentucky. Vice might be coming on a little bit later. Unfortunately, scheduling is hard and life is hard. Tonight we have a number of different topics. We've been kind of waiting. We've been kind of itching to get another show for quite a while, especially Mr. Justinian as well, has been trying to get a show going, and it just seems like every time it's like, what do we talk about? I don't know. Finally, we have something to talk about. Nothing? Okay, good. So tonight on the docket, let's see if I can find the top topics. Tonight we had 3 topics that we wanted to talk about. First one being the recent bank heist. Try to go into detail on that and talk about the implications. And then I wanted to go on a nice rant about how the rating meta needs to stop. And finally, we have some assorted hot takes. During the show, if any of you have something to add on VC or in chat, let us know. I for one am completely ready to unmute random people for no reason. Give us your hot takes, especially in the third section. So, Justinian, do you want to take the first topic, or should I?
You probably know more about it than I do.
So I only know what's been posted, but honestly, this is the kind of thing that I absolutely love watching. So for those that don't pay attention, there's a bank called Almighty Corporation. I have never personally heard of that bank. Have you guys?
I've heard of it like once or twice, but as like a passing thing, not like something I've ever worked with.
So hopefully somebody in chat can help us out. Since neither of us have ever heard of it really much, who runs that bank? Who's really the one that's affected? Because that's something I didn't do my homework on.
Apparently some guy named Tom.
Yeah, the guy from MySpace?
I guess. Like, I don't know. There's so many like one-off corporations and stuff in the game now that it's hard to keep up with all the who runs what and where.
It's so hard.
I don't know who keeps like putting their money in these things.
Yeah.
Thalmor, do you know anything about it?
Nope, I do not.
Well, none of us have any ideas.
Yeah, all I know, we don't know what's going on.
Well, wait a minute. This whole thing was y'all's idea.
Wait, I thought this was your idea.
Well, all of these, every single one of these private game community businesses, they pretty much always go tits up. The only bank I can think of that has actually been an effective bank and hasn't completely blown up is Yar. And like they're not even a normal,
and Yar doesn't really offer the same. They only do like alliance services. They don't really do personal loans, I don't think, unless they know you.
Yeah, so that's a non-traditional example. So all of these private businesses, they always go tits up. Everyone loses their money, and I don't know why people keep literally putting so much stock in them when there's a multi-year, extensive number of examples of them just exploding. But people
Right.
still put money and still lose billions, and it's like, okay, well, okay.
what was the most recent before this one? What was the most recent like business implosion? The biggest one I can think of is the Orbis stock exchange, which actually seemed
Yeah.
like a really cool idea, but exploded before I could even look at it.
Earlier
there
in
was
this year,
Pose.
you had Taith blew up, and that was like I think tens of billions of dollars.
Oh,
Although
right,
there was a
yeah.
lot of weirdness going on with that. And I don't know if this exactly counts, but before this last example, I know Krampus lost a lot of money because of some kind of exploits, which I think is similar to what happened in
But
this
did he
most
get his?
recent example.
Didn't they give Alex give him his? He lost like 12 billion. He lost twice as much as what these people were allegedly losing.
Alex didn't give it back, but he did get it back,
Oh,
kind
okay.
of. I
Okay.
reading between the lines since he's not here to defend himself. From reading between the lines, it sounded like they kind of struck a deal. I suspect, anyways. There was also this year. The ones I know of is the Orbis Stock Exchange. In that, I think was Swing Set. Swing Set was the one that Zerg uh, profited from. Those of you that know who Zerg is, he's pretty active in the Balkans.
Mm-hmm.
Currently goes by what was his name? Like the 5th of November guy, whatever that guy's name is.
The V for Vendetta guy.
All right, he just changed his name. Yeah, he goes by the V for Vendetta guy now.
Mm.
And then there was Taith, which of course led by Green, that exploded. Beacon was big, one that blew up. Says Soup. I'm not sure who that is. I don't remember that one. But I took a look. So I've taken a look at the Almighty Corporate, the bank that got hit. One of the interesting things I've noticed is some of these banks actually go ahead and they post they actually make like professional looking websites, which I think is just too much work. But I think it's actually that website that was taken advantage of. So I've posted the website on the page. It actually looks quite professional. Someone says only ALMC does websites. I know that's not the only people that do websites. I've seen a couple others. Green has a website, so 770 has its own website. I think Atlas had a website. It might not be there anymore. I've seen a couple. It's not hugely. There's not a huge number of them, but there definitely are some that decide that they want to go as far as make their own website. Yeah, and as Thelmar has posted, due to unprecedented exploit, Almighty Corporation is under special financial administration until further notice. They lost 5.75 billion after a user exploited a glitch on the website service. And so, what happened is they exploited a inspect element. They used inspect element to exploit, basically give themselves a whole bunch of cash and then redeem it.
Damn. That easy, huh?
That easy. And I'm still not entirely sure if that was in Discord thing or if that was in the website. But it essentially amounts to just poor programming. Yeah, I figured it was probably the website. So that essentially boils down to someone programmed something with no security in mind. So everything was done client side instead of server side. There was no checks, and the result, they walked away with the entire bank. That it kind of
The
reminds me
most
of
devious lick.
Truly the most
It
devious
was
lick.
the most. Yeah.
So if you see on their website, they actually have a recovery tracker of the 5.75 billion that they're reporting is lost. So Krampus in Royal Orbis News is saying like up to 6 or potentially 7 billion, but the bank itself is saying 5.75. So it looks like they got back 1.2 billion of that, and then the rest they kind of just have been trying to make up for with their own cash, I guess, or selling off resources. So 2.5 out of 5.75 billion recovered so far. That's not terrible, but that's not great. But I guess that is
So-
like a day in. So
So there's more to
They're
it
trying to
than
make
just
it.
that. There's more to it, to the recovery, than, I mean, I guess there's not more to it, but there's some information that's been shared in the Balkans that has been super buried. So I'm sure a lot of people have not seen it. But one of the big questions is who actually did this exploit. It was a brand new nation. So a lot of people were thinking that it was either a reroll or a multi. That person then sent all of the money to a bank, to essentially an offshore, and then disbanded the alliance and went into vacation mode. And so probably has absolutely none of the money. And so all of that money is probably out there right now. I don't know if anyone really has any idea who was doing this. But one of the recovery parts, I'm posting a screenshot here from the Balkans. The culprit sent 100 mil to a whole bunch of different alliances. From what I saw, it looks like the way the elites. I think there was a couple more that I saw, but I can't remember.
I'm literally checking my own bank records right now to see if I got lucky, and I did not. Sad face.
This would imply that we can easily find the culprit. So who is the culprit then? If we know that they sent the money out, then don't you just have to look at the transaction to know who did this?
They were all bank-to-bank transactions, so they're not traceable.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're not traceable
Got it.
publicly. Not traceable.
Yeah, so
Okay,
each individual
got it.
alliance has to supply the information. That's the only reason why we know it, is because there's been a couple of people that came forward and said, "Hey, we got some money. We're returning it."
Hmm.
Okay, so Tyrion, Weisel, did any of your alliances get any weird $100 million cash injection?
Would the big alliances like that even notice if an extra 100 mil was in their bank?
Probably not. I mean, they probably go to the offshore anyways, and then it'd be up to like the econ officer to report it. And
They probably have enough accounting software that they'd be able to see it, though.
DIY CIPT
Accounting
doesn't pull up
software.
anything. Advanced search. Can I show vacation mode nations?
My something wrong. Okay.
Oh,
I will-
this person changed their name. Oh, that's interesting. DIY CIPT changed nation name. I wonder if there's a hint. Oh, Someone already posted. So one of the things I wanted to do is try
Discord
to
name
break down the
Rich
name.
969.
I wonder if DIYCIPT is an anagram for something. It's the kind of thing. It's the kind of jumble of letters that could mean something secretly. Be a hint.
So he built 10
Are
cities,
Rosie just quiet?
and he was in the Mortals. I'm reading this guy's nation description and like looking at all his stuff, I guess, tracking his shit. He did go through and commend a few people already, so I wonder if they're like people he knew connected with Almighty or just random people. One of them's Ramona, and I think they're pretty active here. So he was actually in the
Okay, I just
Mortals
put a
for a
poll
second.
in the chat there. Is this guy based for stealing all this money from this bank? The crowd is kind of split on this decision. I lean towards yes.
So
Oh,
he's
did he
in
change his
vacation
name
mode
a
for
bunch of times?
less than a year. No, he only changed his name once, it looks like.
Changed both name and nation name. Both leader and nation.
name.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's why it's those four. Those are the four hints that we have.
I wonder if he's a reroll. If he
He
really
has to
is.
be.
Yeah.
No, I mean a new player wouldn't understand how to send money like he's and build like cities. Like I have a lot of newbies in my alliance, and they don't even know how to build improvements. You know what I mean? Let alone steal money and quickly distribute it to several alliances. Which is funny.
Yeah, this person knew enough to do an offshore to make it untraceable. So there's absolutely no way this person's a brand new nation.
So here's a maybe
Yeah.
devious lit question. Has anybody tried to withdraw more money from Almighty Corporation using the same tactic since then? Is that a
Better question.
Is that a bad question to ask?
Better question. Can someone go do that right now?
Thalmor, I need you on this.
If I knew how, I would. If I knew how, I would, but I don't know how because I'm not a nerd. Where's Borg? Borg can hack.
All you
the
have to do is
mainframe.
press like I'm pretty sure F10 or F11, and it pulls up inspect element automatically on Chrome.
I'm not sure what they had to change though.
Wait, that's all he did?
Yeah, I
That's
mean
all
you
he
just
did?
go in and
Just-
change it
just-
like on your side
Holy-
of things.
Holy shit, that sounds
Which is
really
again
bad
like
from a security standpoint.
this guy knew of Almighty Corporation, knew of the bug, and like took advantage of it and distributed the cash. I 100% believe he's some disgruntled Almighty Corporation guy, either a reroll or a multi.
And so Alex's policy on this is to tell the financial institutions, sorry, tough luck, because it's also pretty based.
So here's another question that I just thought of. Since obviously this exposed Almighty Corporation's, automated script to withdraw, like obviously there was no player on the other side of the screen sending out 5 billion. Isn't that against the rules, or am I crazy? Since there's no player pressing that button.
Probably not, because I feel like the spirit of the rule is to stop AI from playing the game, whereas what he did, I mean, it's an exploit, so maybe that would count. But ultimately, tools like this are just that, they're tools. So I'm not sure if just using them normally would be against the rules. Now, in this guy's case, he
I
used a
mean,
technical exploit.
he's running a for-profit, quote unquote, in-game company using an automated system. How does that differ from a trade bot?
Well,
You know what I mean?
I mean, with the trade bot, it's like that's interacting with the rest of the community. And if you buy low and sell high, you're coming out on top. And if you use AI and a bot to do that, I can see the problem. Whereas again, making a business transaction under normal circumstances, I still don't think that violates, at least not the spirit of what the rule is. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. I still kind of disagree with it. But I assume that since Alex hasn't said anything already, that he doesn't really care. I'm pretty sure
Actually,
BK has been using that automated banking system as well for like normal gameplay function.
yeah, for like 5 years.
Yeah. I think George stole their
Alex,
bank using it once.
yep. There's been quite a few bank thefts from those kinds of scripts. Most notably, there was some sort of drama between Epi and Viselli about Cam, because yeah, and some people were trying to get Epi banned for stealing Cam's bank from Viselli because they thought Viselli had stolen the bank. Boy, was that a whole lot of drama.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Alex is fully aware of it and is okay with it, and has been for quite a while. Because aside from a few very specific occasions, I think he just has a very hands-off approach to about every type of thing I would count as an exploit.
I've
He
been
hasn't.
bitching at him for
I was
months to include some sort of automated banking system so that you didn't have to have a bot coder in your alliance to be able to run your bank or invite Locutus or whatever.
Why would
I was
he do
about to
that?
say,
Why would Alex offer a feature in his game?
Yeah, if he can get modders to do that for him.
Because a
it's-
big theme with Alex is evening. Like he is a big fan of like trying to even the playing field between experienced players. Basically, the whole philosophy behind a lot of his decisions is that games like Cybernations became defunct and dead, basically because of the chasm between a new player and a normal player. And so a lot of his decision making goes into like ideas trying to even the playing field. Like a lot of the new player catch up mechanics are a result of that, etc. It's for the benefit of the longevity of the game, basically, rather than letting a few talented people corner the market, if that makes sense. Corner the meta.
yeah.
I mean, I
yeah,
agree.
and
Score desperately needs to be fixed. I don't think. I actually probably think the opposite of what you're saying, though. I think City Score needs to be re-lowered. I think he took an axe to a scalpel job, and it kind of fucked shit up. Personally, but anyway, what do y'all think about the back to the bank? Not to rattle off topic.
We'll come back to that, I think. Sorry, somebody posted
last year
multi-report, so
there was all those bans. Last year when MPL got banned, I remember Alex did reimburse a bunch of banks I think 2/3 or half of what was out. But the difference between the bank incidents this year and that was that I remember Alex saying that he felt responsible because first off he kind of okayed Guinea Pig Whaling Corporation for a while, but then with banning the NPO guys, he felt responsible for those banks losing money, so that's why he fixed some of it. And I think that I guess that makes sense. But it came to my mind why is Alex doing two different things, and that's why because unique circumstances like
Yeah, I think it was like roughly fair for him to reimburse from MPO and Goons and everybody dipping, since it was an admin issue that kind of avalanched into the whole scenario.
yeah, and also yeah. So are we ready to move on to the next topic?
Sure.
So,
Zig?
well, before we do, I wanted to look at someone posted a multi-check on the bank thief. And so this is the kind of stuff that I love trying to look at and trying to figure out. So last time something like this happened, it was the DDoS attempt. We talked about in the last Ron show, where someone that went by the name of Zing was essentially reloading the spies check page like a billion times, and that caused the entire server to lag like crazy. By the way, I don't know if that ever got fixed. So with that's probably one of the reasons why every war the server lags like crazy. Is there's a few ends for bots that don't have a limit, including the one to check for spy percentages. Anyways, so last time we had something like this, there was a mysterious anonymous character named Zing who claimed that person claimed they had a multi, and they were able to exploit the game by lagging it like crazy. Now we have another person, another anonymous person that is most likely a multi, but possibly a reroll, with a good VPN. And this person knew how to steal a bank, probably from probably from a similar thing as before. Um, Probably from looking at a lot of the similar exploits. The question I still have is why? Like, what's the goal? Where is this going? Who is profiting from this? One thing I definitely think is that we're all profiting from this because it's funny. That person sent the trade to Kazakhstan from the Immortals, and some people think that's a sus trade. One of the things that I know, I recognize the name, and it's because if you look at what was it, leaks and rumors, I think. Kazakhstan invested $10,000. Kazakhstan was one of the last person to invest $10,000 into the thing. So it's probably not actually that sus. The person probably just gave back the people that were on the Balkans thing. Anyways, that was kind of a rant.
Hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think we just got a fourth topic for tonight. If you look at politics and war news here in the Balkans,
Oh
at
god,
7:30, so 8
Oh, yeah.
minutes ago.
purposefully not talking
was
about
the-
that one. He did a
I just-
podcast. He did a podcast.
No,
Just-
I have quote. I have officially started a politics and war podcast. He did not appear on a podcast. He is starting one for Politics and War. Alex has entered the Politics and War radio show industry.
Oh shit!
So-
He has.
Ooh,
So-
fancy.
Somebody get him in touch with the
that-
Thalmor radio theme song. It needs to be played.
Again, Zig, I'm sorry to interrupt. You may continue where I rudely interrupted you.
Now we're good. I was done. I was actually thinking about that too, mentioning that. It's kind of a shame that he decided to do a podcast without us.
Right? Like invite some
I
of the
mean-
people, man.
We have the community already. We definitely don't say anything that's controversial or related to IRL politics or. Never mind.
Well, I think Alex likes to go probably a lot more out of character with stuff than I don't know if all is the right word, but probably most of us are comfortable with. Like, I don't know if I would live stream my face to everybody in the Balkans, but yeah. Have any of you guys actually watched it
What
yet?
Alex is
Because he posted it some other places earlier.
I haven't. I might give it a listen to because I listen to a lot of podcasts, anyways. But what Alex is doing with this is he's trying to advertise the game, and he was having a lot of success with Facebook ads, which are usually pretty good, but now they're getting too expensive. And so he's trying to find other avenues to advertise the game, and one of the avenues is starting a podcast. And so like a lot of business entities will, like, the decision makers will start a podcast to as a form of advertisement and stuff. And so that's what he's trying to do with this. So we'll see. Which I don't think he'll be successful because, like, members of the Politics and War community might be interested in it, but, like, if you're an outsider, like, if you just play Halo and Call of Duty, and, like, are you going to want to try a Nation Zim? Like, how would you even discover the podcast, anyways, unless you're already a nerd and you liked these types of games?
It's all
I
about
imagine
how
he's-
you sell it. It's all about how you sell it. You know,
Yeah,
you talk
If you
about
throw the
nuclear
right tags on
holocaust.
things, it's all about the tags. So, I mean, people looking for new stuff will see something called Politics and War and be like, oh, what's that? You know what I mean?
Hashtag nuclear
That's a great
holocaust.
point.
Great. That's right
But
there.
honestly, I doubt a Politics and War podcast is going to take off outside of the Politics and War community. As the majority,
It's not going to take off in the community.
I watched about 10 of 20 minutes of this earlier this morning. And I mean, it's literally just him kind of going over the update schedule and his kind of vision for the future.
That's very interesting.
And it's very geared towards like us, not other people. He did. We actually had a. I don't know if I feel like I talked about this on a different radio show at some point, but me and Alex actually had a long-ish DM conversation the other day where he was telling me how he was going to start winding down some of his, like, website building businesses and things like that, and start refocusing back in on politics and war. And the reason being is that until recently he had written off P&W as a like a side project or like proof of concept for himself to show that he could create something successful, until he started putting money into advertising and seeing quote unquote real results in terms of monetization and just like game population increase. Apparently a significant chunk of credits are being bought by, like, random players not in alliances, just swinging into P&W for like a week, getting bored, buying credits, and then I don't know what they're doing.
That's
Really?
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Not like a majority. I assume. I don't know the actual numbers.
I think we all know that most of the credits are from the Way in their advertising campaign.
Oh, 100%, dude. Did you see my post in Balkans a while ago?
I think so.
Between the Way and Alex, they have almost half of all player ads. Like 50 plus ads out of 100 and something. That's I don't even understand it.
I would consider posting an ad if I had any idea how to make an ad. Or who. Yeah, but what are the dimensions? I have no idea.
It tells you.
I know an ad person. I'll give you a ring.
Yeah, 100 tall, 800 wide, but they have to be exact. Like you can't go smaller or bigger because it won't auto compress or stretch.
Yeah.
Which is annoying as fuck, by the way, because I get a lot of ads where they're like $7.99 by 100 and it won't post. Very frustrating.
Your ads are also weird.
Some of my members take the liberty of posting their own ads for the Alliance. Like the big hot sweaty Latin men one was that was not sanctioned by me. That was just something some random member posted.
You sanctioned it after the fact.
That's what you
I mean, I definitely thought it was funny, but I didn't even know they were posting it until they had posted it. But yeah, anyway, long story short, I did speak with Alex briefly about the future of the game, and he said he was trying to, once again, quote unquote, because he's told us this before in the past, he's trying to put full-time hours into developing the game again and adding content and things like that and new features.
That's good.
The podcast specifically talks about adding in treasure trading finally. We're allegedly finally going to be seeing the additional alliance positions with customizable permissions and things like that.
Allegedly.
He said before 2021 closes out. So probably March. I mean, I don't know.
So he is currently hard at work on that, and it has absolutely broken the test server. As a result, he's been working on the test server and adding things bit by bit. And let me see if I can. Let me see if it still does it. Alliance pages were usable as of like maybe 3 days ago. Because he's been messing with the permissions and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. Let me just post my alliance. So I'm part of the QA team. Any of you that are interested, that'd be great to have you, because we don't have enough people testing on the test server. But that's my alliance. You can see that it's not populating what the alliance is. And if you click on the link, at least for me, I can't scroll down. And the basic information and everything is just broken. And that's because the alliance permissions, he's been trying to sort that out. And I suspect the more he's been trying to get it to work, the more it's kind of breaking because of spaghetti code.
You love to see it.
But it means he's doing something, which is good.
Yeah. He's definitely trying.
I
just find it funny that he's like
broken.
I just find it funny that he's like, yeah, I'm gonna put 40 hours into politics and war and get grinding, churning out these updates, and then he turns around and releases like a 30-minute long recording of his face podcast video. And I'm just like, bro, that probably took you at least 2 or 3 days to like edit that all together and get it right. Like, you could have been coding. Come on.
Well, that's why. Yeah, I honestly thought that he was gonna just move to business only and then outsource the whole game. I'm not I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up doing largely that and not coding very much. Because honestly, he's a lot better of a businessman and like game designer than he is a coder. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's hired 2 paid moderators for it.
Yeah, and I think the Indian coder is like full time right now, and has done a decent job, but there's a lot to fix. So
Spaghetti code, baby. Spaghetti code.
Nation States' advertisements might be worth investigating how much of their player base already plays. Nation States is massive. I think Nation States has maybe hundreds of thousands of players. It was big when I first looked at it in 2013, before I came over to Politics and War. So today, I rejoined it temporarily a couple years ago, and it was so much bigger. So I imagine today, especially with COVID keeping everyone indoors, it must be just huge. Regions are like alliances, and it's not uncommon for regions to have thousands of people in them. So it's big. Yeah, I mean, I imagine. Which the difference between nation states and politics and war is that nation states doesn't really have any stakes, whereas in politics and war you have infra and income and military, and you can steal someone's shit and you can break their stuff. Whereas in nation states, like, I mean, there's a meta about stripping away voting power from people, but like, it's not nearly as interesting. And I think the people who care most about that game are really big nerds and dorks and should have swirlies done to them. Yes, Leon. It's mostly just roleplay. Like I said, there is some very limited gameplay through the meta in which like people will try to overthrow the leader of the region, and but it's pretty like it's even more nerdy than the worst that this game has to offer.
on the other hand, we have this game which kind of suppresses a lot of the RP elements, and has historically kind of made fun of it a lot of times, while having much better in-game mechanics.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, there is no real role play in this game, whereas
Yeah.
Nation State is all about role play.
Yeah.
The
That's
only
interesting.
role play I've seen recently has been in the world news, which I still think that's one of the best new player additions, because the only people I see that use the world news, and I shouldn't say the only, but most of the people I see in the world news are noob micros, brand new players in micros that really just want to have a voice somewhere, and they actually do.
Micros have voices?
That's I mean, you don't have to listen to them because it's tucked away in a feature that none of the old people actually look at.
The bulletin thing?
Yeah, bulletins.
Okay. Yeah, I don't read this.
Yeah, nobody does, except for the micros. You look at the top alliance bulletins, and it's like NATO. You remember NATO? The people that couldn't figure out how to change their alliance name, that may have been harboring Nazis,
There we go. Yeah.
and some guy that decided to wish Danny DeVito happy birthday. That's a classic.
I just want to know what the United Countries of Europe has to say about ARC rating them. But maybe we will never know. But speaking of ratings, Zig, I think that was one of your topics. Is you want to talk about the meta and newbies rating people for money, and like there's a problem with that.
Yeah, this is my chance this is my chance to yell at most of the macros, including my own protector. So one of the things that has become a large part of the meta, it's kind of become ingrained in the idea of most of the macros. Is the idea that nations should all raid at City 3 until you hit a really high income, and then build up a bunch of cities and become farmers. One of the things
It's the macro because it works.
it's the macro because you get the most you get a high income at City 3. You get a higher income at City 3 doing raiding than you do at probably like City 12 or 13 or more, which I think is kind of terrible partially. But it's just because we have all these people. I think it's just because we have all these people that join, have all the starting money, and then just stop playing basically.
No, I mean, yeah, it's 100%. All these newbies come in and they don't last, but it just doesn't make sense to build it up traditionally when, yeah, you can beat a C20 when you're at like C4 rating. The money is just economy is somewhat broken.
And I understand that it's economically. I understand that it's economically funded, but one of the big issues that I find is that for a lot of people, that join the game, they don't join it so that they can do a bunch of raiding. They just like to watch the numbers go up and to have some FA stuff like that. My concern with the way the current meta is for most alliances. For most alliances, the people that will get promoted are the people that are good at Milcom, and the other people will just quit and get raided out of the game. I know personally, if that was the meta when I started, I would have quit, probably, because I don't really care for the war system at all. But I don't know if there's a way to fix that, because, like you said, economically, that's the way that it has to go, right? Economically, City 3s make too much money.
Yeah, you either have to punish rating or encourage improve economic growth at smaller city levels. So, or yeah, that could work, reducing inactivity time.
Dead air.
I mean, it does. To your other point, yeah, people that are good at the war system typically do seem to get noticed more, like prolific raiders, even in TKR. Prolific raiders are people that usually get noticed, tapped more for promotion, that kind of thing. That's not the only way you get promoted. You can get promoted for helping out in other departments, etc. But usually, being a good raider, like a really good raider, shows that you're active, you're engaged, that you're actually smart about picking targets, etc. So it is a very much a it weans people out in some ways of like really active, really engaged versus people that sometimes aren't active or aren't engaged. I'm not saying that's the only way to be active engaged, but that's an easy way to see activity and engagement.
So how do you as a TKR leader get the people that don't care about war engaged, or do you try?
I mean, you do try, because again, it's not just being able to fight that makes you a good member. I think part of that's your community. You have to have different things in the community that you do. For us, that's stuff on Slack or game nights, stuff like that. And then you have other departments and other ways that people can serve. Um, IA is a really good entry level position for people that are helping out with interviewing apps, that kind of thing. Becoming a diplomat's a pretty easy way to start getting noticed. Um, there's lots of different avenues to show you're active besides just fighting and raiding. But being good at war is important, so we do try to encourage people to do that kind of thing. So
What I think would
And there's
succeed.
there's a go on, Zig.
Go ahead.
I'll go last. I don't care. All right. Well, there's just a harsh reality to the game, which is that a lot of people who play, like, they don't log in a second time. You have a massive bounce rate. Now, more people are joining than ever and staying than ever, but there's still a big bounce. And I think if a And of a lot of those people who do stay, a lot of them aren't like good members for an alliance. It really sucks because ultimately the meta, and this has been established since the beginning, all of the real serious movements comes from alliances. Alliances are really the only thing that matters. There is no actual nation to nation politics. There really never has been its own alliances. And if you're not in an alliance, you just get raided to hell and back. So you have to join an alliance. And alliances, all of them, oh my goodness, Morph, you scared me.
sorry,
But but and alliances, if they're of any quality, will expect a certain level of quality from their members. And if you're logging in once every third day, if you can't really fight, if you don't respond to DMs, if you're barely active on Discord, players, decision makers, and alliances, they don't want you in their alliance. And so you might go join a micro, but then you're just getting raided, and then you end up getting burnt out and leaving because you don't have a good tether to the game. And I don't know how to fix that. Obviously, the ideal politics and war player is someone who joins, raids a lot, joins a good alliance, is active on Discord. But there's every month only maybe a handful of those people ever join, and everyone else just kind of peters on by, and they're and in a way they're left in the dust. And I don't know what the solution to that is,
I think
except that they need to get good.
I think part of it is almost just a misrepresentation of the game from the advertisements that Sheepy does.
Yes.
Like if the ads were
Yes.
actually like targeted at like, hey, join this game and join and find a community, like really make a point that alliances are the big deal, and that's like the fun of playing a game, then you would probably get more people that were. Oh well, sorry, Professor, but I think if you like focus more on like what the actual game is, you're not gonna get these people that log in and they're like, this isn't what I was expecting, because the ads are all like control your nation, build army, all this stupid stuff. That again, if you're not in alliance, you're just gonna get blown up. Like as soon as your beige is over, somebody's on you, and so I think if the ads were more focused on like what the game actually was, and maybe was targeted at like I don't know pre-existing communities, that might be a cool way to bring people in. Like CN had a bunch of back in the day of alliances that they joined the game as like an invasion alliance, but it was communities coming in that then stayed together and founded an alliance. And yeah, some of them were like goons and FARC and stuff like that, but there were also other groups that came in. and made their own alliance, and it was another way for them to have a community. I think that would be a change, and I think Professor has another example of how the ads could be better. If you type in the chat, since I was wrong.
Yeah, there is a disconnect in the advertising, and maybe we did pivot to, hey, join a community and rec other communities. That might actually be successful. Make it like a collective social thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that is for everyone that really enjoys the game. That's honestly the biggest part of it. I think is like the average member in an alliance is not there because they're doing the scheming and the politics part. That's 3 or 4 people. Like your FA team in an alliance is really small. And the average war for a C20 is what 3 or 4 times a year. You're sticking around the Russian because you like the community.
Zig, what are your thoughts?
Yes.
Incredible. So are we done with this topic?
Sure.
Yeah, I think just posting a bunch of ads that said disband your respective life and join BK. I think that would be really effective.
It could work.
It could work.
But yeah, I do think I said it, but I think the community twist would be a better way to bring in players that would actually fit the meta of the game. Like Happy said, a lot of these players that join, you send them a recruitment message and they say, F you, I don't need an alliance. Okay, cool. Like, have fun dying. But Professor's point is also good. Of he's very much nation building, where this part I think that most people enjoy is the war mechanic, especially the new people, like the small people. That's cool. Maybe we should tell Sheepy to stop making podcasts and fix his ads.
I think he'd be more likely to succeed if you just made the ad for him. Especially if you just paid for the ad for him. Let's just crowdsource ads for Sheepy. We don't need to.
Yeah, you just
We
need
don't
people
need to buy.
you need people to create alliances, right? That are themed to different communities. Like someone create a new Harry Potter alliance, and then we can go spam that ad on a bunch of Harry Potter like Twitter pages and stuff, right? And someone else make I don't know, another really popular game or popular thing, make an alliance, a Fortnite alliance. Yeah, there we go, and then spam it on the Fortnite sub. And then you'll get 500 Fortnite players to come invade us, which would probably make us all hate ourselves. But
That's exactly what Justinian did, right?
I mean, kind of. I think it was.
Legitimately, he went on to one of the history subs and spammed Empire of the Romans, and it kind of worked. I think that plus other stuff, but
I mean, I pushed for at one point at least. I pushed for TKR to do an ad on the Brandon Sanderson page.
yeah,
I'm sure we get a few people that like that book to come.
yeah.
I just don't know if we've ever done it before or not.
All right. Well, Zig, thanks for putting this on, but I'm tired, so I'm gonna bounce before I pass out. Y'all have a good
Okay.
night, and I will see y'all later.
Good night,
And thanks for
sweet
coming
prince.
on, Big Morph.
Good night,
Good
people.
night.
So that just means it's you and me, Morph, our
Oh, yay.
unexpected guest host.
Hello, it is
Unless Vice decides to talk, but I don't think there's actually much else to talk about.
I don't know
Let
what you
me-
guys are talking about when I got here, so
You jumped in well.
I can always jump in.
The last the last topic was assorted. Where's my list? Latest hot topics in Orbis.
I mean, I don't
We
know if
covered a couple of
any-
those already, but
but I don't know what much is going on besides banks are bad and the nap ends in a month, which isn't really a hot topic, but it could be in a month or two. So
and a bunch of people, a bunch of leaders quitting.
oh yeah, there's a new generation of people coming up.
Not quitting. A bunch of leaders stepping down.
Yeah, retiring.
I wish Vice was able to make it. He just said that he wasn't, because in our little secret chat, he wanted to talk about how why long naps lead to leaders retiring.
I think it's because it gives time. Like you don't have to worry about a war happening smack dab in the middle of your transition.
Yeah, I mean that might be part of it. Is that's the safest time to step down.
Yeah, like I asked Ben, I was like, "Hey, you think about retirement?" And the app is kind of a perfect time, and he was. That's how I found out because I was poking about the nap being a good time for it, and then I was like, "Yeah, by the way, I am, and Weisel's taking over." I was like, "Oh, cool."
You were asking for his job?
No, I wasn't asking for his job. I was just like, I know he had maybe kind of been thinking about it. He'd been king for like a year and a half, and so
Yeah.
and
I can't imagine how much there is to do as that position.
let's ask
We have
Weisel.
200 people.
Weisel, how you doing? You doing good?
Oh.
Right. Weisel's thriving. Is it?
Oh, I invited Spanky because you
Oh.
requested.
Also, is Roberts like dead?
Yeah, he DM'd Thalmor and I and said that he's gonna have to be AFK for a bit because of surprise home invasions.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me see if I can. Yeah, I can.
Roberts going AFK in the middle of voice chat is nothing new to me, right, Weisel?
Spanky, you need to become one of our show hosts so that we can have a full 5 Kentuckians. It's kind of ridiculous. So Weisel, you were brought on to answer a very specific question. How much do you hate your life right now?
What life?
Good answer. All right, moving on.
He hasn't even picked the new 2IC yet, so he has to do all the work himself.
I'm not.
Wait, 2ICs do work?
Sometimes.
I never did when I was a 2IC. I was just the spare.
I did lots of stuff. It's kind of like jack of all trades. You just help out where needed.
Yeah. You're the trustworthy person to stand in
That too.
or something.
Something.
Or something. Cool. We've covered all the topics. It's been an hour.
We did it.
2 of our hosts are gone
We're dead.
or dead. Not because of me. I imagine when I was quiet, that was actually just me driving.
I mean, you let me think you can do it.
Yeah, I don't actually know where he lives, but like area wise, no idea. I'm pretty sure quite a few people would be able to dox me pretty easily. I shouldn't say that in a huge channel, in a public channel, but whatever.
Let's say he did have a surprise home invasion, right? And now he's gone. Wow. Surprise.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where Vice is. He was busy, you know? Maybe he was,
Oh, that's what Vice is doing. Yeah, that's what he was at work.
working.
That's what he was at work doing. So I'm out of topics for tonight. Does anybody else have things to cover? If not, we're going to close it out.
Do it.
You have 10 seconds. 9, 7, 6. Silence achieved. Thank you, everybody, for another decent enough show of Royal Orbis News Radio.
Professor got it in under the gun.
What? Oh, I didn't look. I wasn't reading chat. I should have done that.
Yeah, you
Are
should have
trading
done it.
alliances worth anything in this game? Yes, they are absolutely worth something. They mean that the actual top alliance of the Immortals does not seem like a big fish because they are not number one. And TITFP seem not as scary. That's my thoughts. I don't honestly know what the point of trading alliances are. Having never been in an alliance.
I mean, I think they can do a couple things. They can protect a color bonus, like, for example, the Syndicate and the Enterprise. They actually use that to keep their 75,000. I think it can be good in a way that if you're actually kind of treating them as a separate entity, you can train Gov. Like, hey, you are in charge of Milcom for my trading alliance, and then if you're good enough, you'll promote you to the real alliance. But I also think you can do that in your alliance too. It doesn't have to be like a separate thing. But I guess that's the TKR.
Yeah, I think protecting the bonus is probably the biggest thing.
I have returned,
Hey, you're alive.
lives.
and I didn't get murdered.
People were saying that I was murdering you, so
I was about to be included in the Zig body count while he
Yeah.
was on the radio.
Maybe you paid somebody else to do it. You never know.
No, I just had a few people come over randomly unannounced. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to keep talking about politics and war with other people here.
yeah.
What was Zig's tactic to end me? I don't know, Zig, what's your signature move?
If I told you, it wouldn't be a very good move.
Ah, true. What did I miss? What did we cover?
Wouldn't you like to know? Listen to the recording.
Listen to the recording. Rip.
We talked about how the monastery is totally the best TKR protectorate represented in this radio show.
Literally. So just nobody's going to say anything about the Kentucky hegemony over the radio show now? Oh, wait. Thalmore's not even here. Weisel's here. What's up?
This is actually a TKR protectorate staff meeting. Who didn't?
Yeah,
Where's his name withheld?
we need Bradley.
Yeah, where's Brad?
I'm very
merging
proud
into
of
me.
you. I'm very proud of you both for finally accepting my public FA stance. If it's worth doing in private, it's worth doing in an open voice chat on the Balkans.
Yeah.
Iran.
With 14 random listeners. Yes. 100%.
At this time, we will now discuss our very OPSEC plans for the end of the NAP. And with that, I gotta go.
I think we can end the show though. Soup, if you haven't already. please end the recording. That way we can talk about real stuff finally.
In the recording.
That way, only our 15 friends here will know, and not all the people
Also-
that watch later.
Please play the Thalmor Radio theme song. Somebody.
I don't think we can anymore.
Shaking my head.
They broke the YouTube bot.
Yeah.
Well,
And
Zig,
yeah.
bust out the ukulele. It's time to do it ourselves. Thalmor Radio!
That was nice and cringe.
Does anybody want some new protectorates?
Strike me down and I'll become weaker than you'll even know.
Okay. I
Very
should probably go do stuff now.
I should go.
I was sitting in my car waiting to get out when I saw this was going on.
You're just sitting here chilling in your car.
No, I walked in, but now I haven't done anything because I